Liz Byer, first female Presidential Honor Guard. The primary role for honor guards is to provide funeral honors for fallen comrades and to guard national monuments. They also display and escort a national flag on ceremonial occasions at official state functions.
I like to march. I loved to march, and I loved the protocol of it all. I loved the waving of the American flag. I felt like I was extremely patriotic. I loved the Air Force. Yeah.
Although women were held at the same standards as men, many people were against having a woman in the honor guard.
In May of '76 is when I joined the honor guard. Now I'm in the honor guard. I'm fully trained. Here are the 5 girls. There's me and Cindy, Madeline, Margie, and Terry. If you're standing in front of the President of the United States and you have an operational weapon, you have to have a presidential support clearance. And so now we're ready to perform ceremonies, and we get told no by the Army of all people, because the Army is the oldest branch of service, therefore they have priority. Basically it's a seniority rules system in Washington. The Army's the oldest branch of service, therefore they get to make all the rules. And they decided that they didn't have women in their unit, therefore they didn't want women, they didn't want to look bad to the world, so they said, the Air Force, you can't bring your women on assignments. So we were restricted to Pentagon jobs, Arlington National Cemetery, or anything that was just an official Air Force job only. But the problem is, the White House jobs like this, that's the cream of the crop. That's what you train for. That's your goal. That was the name of my assignment, Presidential Honor Guard, not everything else but presidential. So the 5 of us started on this campaign. We fought the Army, we fought all the way up the Air Force, got all the way up the chain of command. They'd knock us down every time. Finally, we decided to write a letter to Rosalind Carter herself. When I joined the unit, Gerald Ford was in office, and then we inaugurated Jimmy Carter. This is actually a picture of Jimmy Carter's inauguration. You can't, I'm standing right there. And the only reason I know that's me is because I talked to that guy the whole day. He's a Secret Service agent, and I remember him very well. So there's Jimmy Carter right there taking his oath. It's kind of funny because the inauguration, you've seen the pictures of Obama's and Trump's inaugurations, how big the crowds were. Well, we had troops assigned to various positions all over. And being I was a girl, I just assumed when they told me I was going to be an usher that I'd be out in the back end of the 2 million people, standing there directing traffic or doing something stupid. And the guys were all like, yeah, we got the good jobs, you're just an usher. I was placed right there. The guys were the ones that were way out there in the end. It just worked out kind of funny. I love that. So anyway, we inaugurated Jimmy Carter, and his wife was we found her to be very, interested in what was going. She seemed like someone that we might be able to reach, since all the guys were shutting us down. So we wrote this letter to Rosalind Carter and got a reject because it never made it to her. The Army, of course, intercepted it. And then we kept writing and kept writing and kept writing, and we kept on with this campaign. We became quite the problem. And then eventually Rosalind Carter got involved, and she's the one that said that she wanted the Army to reevaluate their position. In 1978, I believe, is when Chappie James passed away. He was the first military 4-star general. He was a big war hero. And when he died, his body laid in state at the Shrine of the Immaculate Conception and was guarded prior to the funeral. And that was a huge honor for me to be the first woman to ever pull what they call Death Watch. You'll still see it for presidents and famous senators and famous politicians, I suppose. The next big one you might see could be one of the Bushes when they pass away. But it was a big honor. It was very scary. There were a lot of, this picture, for example, that's Coretta Scott King. Somebody said that's O.J. Simpson, but I don't know if it is or not. There's a lot of very famous people in this just in this picture, because that's Coretta Scott King. That was his, that's Andrew Young. He was the, you'll have to Google that. I don't remember what he was, but he was a big shot. Anyway.
Cool.
He was a big deal. And you had to stand there for 30 minutes without moving, and then they'd rotate you, and then you'd come back in 30 minutes and do it again. But you could not move or make, and normally movements would be very precise, but movements on something like that is you can't make a sound. So you have to. And it all has to be in sync because you don't want to make a sound. It's a respect thing.